Hey guys.
What's up? I'm Shen,
I'm Lay.
and this is the Wilding Up podcast.
It is.
Should I announce that every time? I think
Every single time. They
I
need
think
to
they
know.
know.
No, it doesn't matter. Listen, be proud. While they nap.
Welcome, guys.
Deep sighs.
I don't want to seem too heavy.
No.
Let's check in.
Okay. Let's do it. How are you?
I'm not bad actually.
Good.
I had a rough weekend.
Oh.
I think I mentioned this in our last podcast of checking in, but maybe you guys won't hear that one because we probably may delete that one because it was a rough night.
Truth moment. It was rough.
It was rough. So
Yeah.
maybe you may have heard that episode, maybe not, but my weekend started off pretty rough. I was having a hard week, and then it kind of rolled over into the weekend, and I was just having a bit of a hard time, but you know, after that evening when we recorded that podcast, I actually felt so much better.
Praise God.
I felt like I just needed to let things out into the air, just release all that negative energy. And I was feeling good after that.
Look at While They Nap. Listen, a
Therapy
blessing for all.
us.
What a blessing. That's fabulous. I'm so happy to hear that.
So I've been back to myself.
Good.
Feeling good, feeling more productive, and ready to take on the week.
Yes. That's awesome.
Great.
I love that.
How about you?
I'm doing pretty well, to be honest with you. I have started doing what you encouraged me to do, which is writing things down, like writing affirmations down. And I do that now every Monday, which I kind of really like. For years, my girlfriends have been telling me to do that. Constantly reiterating the value in writing things down, quoting the Bible, write the vision, make it plain. Like, I know that I should be doing that so that, like, you know, the things that I want for my life will manifest. But I'm just not a writer. And I know that is strange because I'm an English teacher and I'm always encouraging my students to write and express themselves in that way. But I don't like writing things down.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You know what? Sometimes, friends, calls come through. And
it's
that
very
happened.
loud.
But it's all good. I love that you love Super Mario that much.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Nerd life.
But yeah, so I've been writing things down and I think that that's really helping. Yesterday was busy, so I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday, but I did do it this morning and it was nice. I just took some time to myself. Yara was in her crib and I just sat on my bed and I just wrote down a list of things that I, want to see come to fruition. And I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about doing that. So
yeah, you gotta manifest that stuff, man.
that's it, man. Write it down.
Trust me.
If you want to see it, you have to first. I guess, and the thing about it is, what I like it is because I think writing it down, it really compels me to believe it, and believe that it's gonna happen. So I'm excited.
You're committing to the thought, and you're almost like letting out that energy.
Yeah.
When you write it down. And you're just putting it out in the universe. I know, like, I feel like it's such a popular thing to say now.
Yeah, it does.
Putting it out in the universe.
It's cliche, but...
It is, but, like, I'm so used to saying that already.
Yeah.
And I mean it, like, I don't know, whatever.
Who
Who cares?
Like it. No.
I like the idea because it has always worked for me. I even mentioned that to you just before we started recording. That everyone used to think I was a witch because I would say things by accident and then it would happen in real life. But you got to speak things.
Yes.
Because it 100% comes true. And when you put that energy out there,
good things
flourishes.
Happen. It does. You like, and I think already what I like is just the difference between the way that I was writing, and I've only been doing it for a few weeks, but just from going from like I will or this will to this is, and I feel like just the fact that I'm now speaking like that is already an indication that it's having a positive effect,
right?
Because it's changing. Again, I'm changing from thinking about things in the future to thinking like, no, this is gonna happen because I say it's gonna happen. So. Yeah. I like it. Affirmations, friends.
Yes, girl.
Write them down.
I like your outfit, by the way, today.
Oh,
so sporty.
Well, I mean,
that's my thing.
For those of y'all who want to know, wearing my championship hat because, listen.
Let's go Raptors.
Let's not even talk about yesterday's game. Let's not talk about it.
I watched the last 3 minutes. It's pretty good.
I
do not have the attention span for sports, so I always watch like the last 3 to 2 minutes of a game.
Oh my gosh.
And it's exciting to me.
I mean, I think I definitely can understand that, like being on the edge of your seat for like those final 4 minutes or even the last quarter. But that game was so nail biting. I was losing my mind. But I'm so happy that we got the W. So if you got kids, Yara Beans Boutique, We the North collection.
We the North.
Listen, let your kids
Check
show
it
their
out.
support.
That's me.
All right, it's bomb mom time.
So our bomb mom for the week is the Princess Megan. Is it Markle?
Yeah, the Duchess of Sussex. I don't even know if she goes like Megan Markle anymore.
It's a full title.
She's fancy.
The Duchess.
The Duchess of Sussex. She's
She's our bomb mom for the week because I was scrolling through Instagram this week or last week, and I saw a clip of her in an interview, and guys, I was shaken to the core the way I was triggered. Oh my goodness. I was in tears.
Same.
After that minute clip.
Absolutely. 100%.
I'm actually going to play it for you guys right now.
Look, any woman especially when they're pregnant, you're really vulnerable, and so that was made really challenging. And then when you have a newborn,
it's a long time ago, but I remember. Yeah.
And especially as a woman, it's a lot. So you add this on top of just trying to be a new mom or trying to be a newlywed. It's I guess, and also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay, but it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
And the answer is, would it be fair to say not really okay, since it's really been a struggle?
Yes.
After hearing that, I honestly could relate so well with her, and you could just see in her eyes that she was being so genuine, so raw and transparent. And postpartum is a real thing. Like whatever you experience in that postpartum period is, like she said, it's so real.
Yeah.
There's no other way to describe it. It is real in every aspect.
Absolutely.
And I think we're going to talk about postpartum today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about, the difficulties associated with having a baby and kind of trying to navigate that new role. But we're also going to get into the challenges that may ensue from the minute you find out you're pregnant, because I feel like there are a number of things that happen then and feelings, that can often generate that we try and dismiss, because I think we're so big on postpartum. So it's like, okay, I'm expecting these feelings towards the end, but what happens if they happen at the beginning or midway, right? How do you navigate that? So yeah, important things to discuss. Okay, jumping right into it. So I think, again, traditionally as women, especially as women who may be looking to get pregnant or discover that they're pregnant, postpartum is definitely a fear. But it was interesting that when I went on the Durham Region health site, because we already outed the fact that we're from Durham. Yeah. They mentioned perinatal mood disorder, which is very simply defined as during pregnancy or the first year of your baby's life, you may experience changes in mood. And it goes a little further to say that as many as 1 in 5 women will develop symptoms of depression and anxiety during this time, which leave them feeling unable to cope. And I think that that's really interesting because, again, we're so accustomed to hearing about women who struggle or experience challenges after the baby has arrived, right? But we don't often hear about the women who, again, navigate the difficulties associated with this new role throughout their pregnancy.
It's never talked about.
No, and I can't imagine how that changes the game, because granted, fine, of course, once the baby arrives, like the challenges, they're endless. But during pregnancy, especially if you have a tumultuous pregnancy, I can't imagine how physically you're not feeling the best, and now emotionally, mentally, you're being plagued as well. That just would be extremely difficult. But it's something that I could definitely understand.
Of course, and it sucks because a lot of people don't even recognize that that's what they're experiencing. That's what they're experiencing.
Yeah.
And then they don't know how to get the help that they need me personally, I'm always anxious. Like, I have anxiety.
Likewise.
Diagnosed. And when I got pregnant, I mentally prepared myself. I said, you know what? There's a high probability that I might become depressed or be very anxious. My hormones are going to change, and that may alter the way that I think. It might make me more anxious. Usually I have a good grip on my anxiety. I know my triggers. I know what I need to avoid. I know when I need to meditate or take some space or breathe. But when you're pregnant, you don't know what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
So I was like, how will I prepare? I tried to do, hypnobirth exercises. Yeah, I did all of that.
I watched a couple of those videos. I'm like,
You know what? I'm not going to lie. They did help me.
Oh, good.
I wasn't hypnotized because
Okay.
I didn't go through the full course.
Yeah.
But the practices that I did get from them actually helped me a lot because I'm so anxious. Sometimes I just get so anxious that I can't even talk myself down. Usually it's Joe that can recognize that I'm going through that process or panicking, and he's able to talk me down. But I'm like, listen, I have a baby. I'm going to be more anxious. I'm going to be nesting. I'm going to be going through all these stages, and I'm probably going to be out of control all the time.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to juggle those emotions, your hormones, and work. And then I moved, and I was going through a lot of other stressful scenarios, which was not the smartest idea
Yeah.
to put myself in. I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to have a hard time or not mentally during this pregnancy. Luckily, it didn't get too out of hand because I was able to recognize when I needed to, take a step back and really collect myself or get the help that I needed to get. And that definitely made a huge difference within my pregnancy because I was also physically sick. So, God,
Yeah.
the thought of it was just overwhelming. Just worrying about being sick alone
Yeah.
made a huge setback in like my mental health.
I bet. I'm very fortunate that I wasn't too sick during my pregnancy. I mean, I want to say like in totality, I probably threw up like 5 or 6 times, which isn't
In total?
bad. Yeah. Yeah. Nausea I felt, but to like actually like physically throw up, that only probably happened like maybe about 6 times.
That's amazing.
2 of those times were horrific. Like projectile vomiting. It was so bad. Like it was as like so bad that Leon had to remove the sink because I went behind the sink in the powder room and he had to remove the sink and wipe behind. It was horrific.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to say funny, but
I mean, but it
kinda
was like
funny.
in hindsight, it's hilarious, especially because I was like, I have to throw up. And he's like, go to the washroom. I'm like, no, I don't want to throw up. Like, and I was
You're
like,
so in denial.
seriously, like I don't understand why I was like trying to convince myself. I was talking myself out of throwing up. It's
I
like
know,
Leanne. And the thing about it is, at that point, Yara was like, she was putting so much pressure. I felt like on the middle of my stomach. So all it took was for her to make one subtle movement, and then boom, everything was out. So it was one of those. But naturally, I also am very anxious. And I mean, I've never been diagnosed, but I'm pretty confident that if I went, I would definitely have the characteristics of someone who suffers from anxiety because I'm always like, my mind will just go places and then it like paralyzes me. I've had to pull over on the road before, or like on the side of the road from like hyperventilating, having panic attacks. Like it's just crazy, which is one of the reasons why I started seeing a therapist before I had a baby. Fantastic. I'm super pro therapy. If anybody wants to contact my therapist, I will give you that information. Feel free to like to DM us because she's awesome. I've already shared her with a few of my friends. She's amazing. Do you know Loretta Devine?
Yes.
Yes, that's what she looks like.
That's how you described her to me.
She's amazing. She's like this beautiful black jolly lady, and she's just amazing. But yeah, she was really helping me prior to pregnancy, and unfortunately, once I got pregnant, it just got challenging to get down there. But I was so concerned about postpartum that I contemplated and like almost went through with encapsulating my placenta. So I had read that
I did too.
Placenta encapsulation was going to reduce the likelihood of postpartum, and we had budgeted for it. Like that's how serious Leon and I were about it. And because Leon was like, "I'll do whatever it takes. If like I know how you are and I want to support you." But then it was like 3 weeks before I delivered. One of the midwives was like, "Did you not see that article?" And she sent me the article about this woman who is like a doula, and she's like a renowned business in Toronto.
Yeah.
And how she'd mixed up people's placentas. Yeah. And people were getting crazy sick. Like a number of people had fell ill as a result of having. So I was like, nah. I was like, nope.
Could you imagine?
I could not. Have you seen that thing?
Yes.
Listen, let me tell you something. No, there's no.
Ew.
I was already grossed out prior to giving birth. When I gave birth, and my like midwife, like, you know, when I pushed that placenta out, she lifted it up and showed it to me. I'm like, I can't even imagine ingesting someone else's placenta, even if it's in capsule form. So I can't actually taste it. No thanks. Disgusting.
No.
So yeah, we just forfeited that idea. And we're just like, he's like, I'm just going to support you. And we're just going to rely on our family and our friends. And if you want to start going back to your therapist, then you know what? That's fine. I'll watch YAR and you can go. Like, we'll do whatever we can. Like prayer, you name it. But the placenta encapsulation thing was not going to work. If anyone's done that, please like let us know.
I'm curious.
I'm so curious. I do have a friend who did it, and she said it was a lifesaver for her. She she swears by it. She swears by it. She gave me the number of the company that she used, and it wasn't the same company.
Yeah.
But I was just so turned off by the experience. I said, forget it.
Yeah,
but
that's sickening.
yeah, she did it, and she said it was like it saved her.
I'm so curious.
Same.
To see how people's experiences were. I really wanted to do it.
I was like I said, I budgeted for it. Like we got like money from our shower. We were like saving our own money. And then I'm like, okay, so this is like $350 for this and this. And we had already arranged, okay, Leon, you're going to pick it up. Like it was done. It was set in stone. And that's how my midwife was like, you really need to think twice about this. Like I don't think it's a good idea. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, like I'm grossed out now.
It's pretty nasty. But yeah, I also was moved to tears when I watched that video because she was super raw, really authentic, and she just let us know like it's not easy. Like balancing all of those, wearing all of those hats and doing so in the public eye is not easy.
Yeah, and they were not easy on her.
No, they're still not easy on her.
I know.
Like everybody, like in the royal kingdom, of course, it's like you're in the limelight, so you're going to be under a microscope. But my God, the fact that she's the first woman of color to ever set foot.
So you know that's going to be negative.
You know what I mean? Oh, gosh. So she's just like, yeah, it's rough. So I read actually a thread, and because I'm obsessed with reading comments, where people were like, I don't get it. Like, she's wealthy. Like, what do you have to worry about? And like, that's when you just don't really understand like how like physiologically a woman's body works, because it's like it has nothing to do with wealth or like it's
you can't buy that.
No,
you can't do anything about it. It's your body.
Yeah.
And you just have to, you know, adjust to your body's adjustments and just wait it out and see what happens to you and experience it and go through it in order to understand what's happening to your body. And sometimes it is just natural. And you just have to learn how to cope with yourself. Yeah. Because it's just you. It's you. It's your body. It's your mind. It's just trying to get back to normal, and things become unbalanced. And, you know, it's hard to adjust to, but, you know, that's why they have support systems, community support, doctors, family members, friends.
I think all of those things are important.
Mama community.
Yeah. But I think what they represent is more important than even what they provide, which is that like you're not alone. Because I feel like that is the hardest piece, is that like when you're experiencing that, it's like so it's so polar opposite to what you feel like you should be experiencing. I'm like, it's a baby. Like I have a baby. I'm a mom. Like this is something that like so many women like aspire towards. Like they want this. Like why am I unhappy? Why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't feel this way.
And you know the craziest thing about after having a baby, for my experience, it wasn't even about winter. It was me. It wasn't even her. I wasn't overwhelmed. Okay, you know what? Let me backtrack for you guys, and let me just go through. I made a little bit of symptom notes.
Hello.
Just so you guys can have like a point of reference about postpartum. So I'm going to read this to you guys because I got my little laptop here. You know,
we over
trying to
here.
keep it light for you guys.
And like, let us like preface this by saying like, we are not clinicians. Like, we are not experts. Like,
no.
Nothing of the sort. We're just two moms kicking it.
Sharing our experiences.
And that's it.
And we're trying to help you guys understand us.
Yes.
While we try to understand motherhood and life.
And y'all.
Right, because I know you guys are going through the same thing.
Many of you are, and that's good. Well, it's not good, but it's cool because we're in this together.
Yeah, come on, mom tribe.
That's right.
So, of course, before I had the baby, I was super anxious about experiencing postpartum depression. That I did so much research. Like I was just I bought books.
Did you?
I was online. I think I was just going through like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
Being so anxious about it that how can I stop it? How can I prevent it? How can I avoid it? Like, you know? And I was like, okay, if I, eat this or if I exercise immediately, maybe I can eliminate postpartum depression. Like maybe if she lets me sleep, I'll be feeling a lot better. Sometimes people don't even recognize that they're experiencing postpartum depression. I know I had friends that had babies and they fully isolated themselves and, we're going through it. And being on the outside, I knew that, okay, these are the symptoms of postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And maybe they're unaware and you want to reach out to them and give them help or let them know that, like, we're here for support. And if they knew that these are common symptoms, then maybe they would be more receptive to support.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that were like, I'm just fine. I just want to be alone,
Yeah.
Because they just didn't know.
Yeah.
So I looked up a couple of things, and here are my finds.
Some findings, friends.
So I'm just going to define postpartum, which means at the time after childbirth. Most women get baby blues. And this was very interesting to me because I was just like, I can't relate because that did not happen to me exactly. And this is just like loose findings. So you'd feel baby blues, feeling sad or empty. And within a few days after giving birth, most moms will experience this postpartum baby blues. And it commonly makes you feel mood swings, crying spells, anxiety, and difficulty sleeping, which makes sense because you're tired.
Oh my God,
you're sleep deprived from before you even have the baby because you're so uncomfortable. And you have mood swings because, again, sleep deprived.
Yeah. And your hormones are everywhere.
Yeah, and you're worried. You're coming home for the first time with the baby and you don't know what you're doing. So I was like, this seems normal. I feel like this will pass in a day or two because you're going to get used to it. And that's what my findings told me. So I was like, okay, it will pass. So then I kept reading. I was like, okay, I'm going to have mood swings. Fine. I'm going to feel anxiety. Normal.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel sadness and irritable, overwhelmed. Maybe I'll cry a little bit. Appetite problems, trouble sleeping. So all these things just seemed pretty general. And I was like, okay, this seems like I will go through this. This will be something I'd have to go through because it's a new baby. Who wouldn't feel a bit worried? And for me personally, I did not experience postpartum depression exactly, but I definitely felt postpartum anxiety. And I didn't know that was a real condition until I had, like those telehealth nurses. Did they call you after you had a baby?
No.
So,
because I use midwifery, right?
Oh, yeah. So they called and came to check up on me because I registered for it. So it's like to come for an in-home check. Yeah. And I was telling her like my symptoms and I'm like, listen, I haven't slept in 2 weeks.
Yikes.
At all. I would literally lay over the baby's bassinet at the edge of my bed like this in absolute, I don't even know how to explain the feeling. I was terrified at all times. Yeah. I would have the weirdest thoughts that someone will walk up my stairs and just throw my baby out the window.
Oh, wow.
It was like the weirdest, craziest scenarios.
Yeah.
And I was in a panic at all times. I was scared, worried, overwhelmed, for nothing. The baby was sleeping.
Yeah.
Like when she's brand new, she was sleeping for like 12, 13, 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I was just terrified at all times. And I remember telling the nurse when she came, and she's like, you know what? A lot of people don't talk about this, but postpartum anxiety is different from postpartum depression.
Yeah.
So I ended up telling her that like I already suffer from anxiety, and I had a feeling this might happen, but I want to avoid medication. And, you know, she gave me some tips. I also just called like a therapist, and, you know, we talked it through. You know, I got my exercises, whatever. And I was like, you know what, I will get through it. Luckily, like John is already aware of my condition, and he's very supportive, and he knows what triggers me, and he knows how to talk me down. And it was a very rough, I'm going to say 2 months.
Yeah.
Long. I can't even remember it anymore because I was not even I felt like I wasn't even in my right mind. It was so rough. And when it was over, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What was I doing?
How did I make it through?
I don't even recall. And it was so hard. Like the hardest part about that was that I felt like I missed out on my baby.
Yeah.
I felt like I can't remember her being brand new because I was not even present.
Yeah.
Because I was in a constant state of like panic.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was so heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I got through it.
You did. You definitely did. And I feel like it's so funny that you mentioned that because, like, I think definitely I suffered from, both Leon and I, to be honest, from a similar case of a postpartum anxiety where we were so afraid of Yara dying of SIDS.
Yeah.
We were so crippled by that idea that, like, during the day, it was fine. Because like we would sleep in intervals. So I sleep, he sleeps. That was the only reason why. So like when you said that you hadn't slept in 2 weeks, the only reason why that I, during those first 2 weeks of Yara's life, why I was able to get sleep is because we legitimately did it in we did it, like we tag teamed. I'm like, okay, so you're going to sleep for 3 hours and then I'm going to sleep. And it's not because the baby's awake. It's because someone has to be awake to watch her sleep.
Yeah.
Like it was ridiculous. It was so crazy. And I remember my mom saying like, Leanne, trust me, everybody does it. Like, it happens. Like, you know what? You got to try to go to sleep. And I remember speaking to one of my sister's really good friends who said something similar. But I'm like, but this can't be life.
You
like,
hear it, but
I can't keep doing this. It's not functioning. Listen to the wine pour, friends.
I hope you
go. But yeah, and it was really crazy. And then there was just one day where I woke up and I told Leon, I'm like, we can't do this. We legitimately can no longer do this. And both Leon and I got down on our hands and our knees and we put down a piece of prayer and we said, we have to give the baby to God. Because if we can't do this, how are we going to survive? What is this? Like, what
it can't be life.
You sleep for 3, I sleep for, and it was like clockwork. We'd set an alarm and then he would just come and wake me up. Like, hey, I need to sleep now. Like, what? What is that?
That must be so difficult.
Yeah. So for those first 2 weeks, it was tough. And following that, it was challenging. I don't think that I experienced, once we got that in check, I think I was fine. Were there moments where I was overwhelmed? Sure. Were there moments where I cried? Absolutely. But I feel like a lot of that stuff was just attributed to being a new mom and the fact that I was nursing and my nipples felt like they were falling off. So it was crazy because I was nursing right around the clock and it felt like that. It just felt like there was never a moment where Yara didn't want to nurse. And yeah, that was really challenging for me. Because in a similar respect, I was like, I know this is a blessing. The fact that I can nurse is a blessing because that doesn't come easy for everybody. But oh my gosh, like I just kind of want to give her a bottle and be okay with it and not feel guilty about it. So I did at 12 days old against the advisement of my midwife and some of my family. I'm like, I'm pumping, giving her a bottle because I need a break. And it was amazing. It was so, so nice. She did not have nipple confusion. She was fine. And I was fine. So I say that little bit to say, like, you have to do what's best for you and whatever you can to preserve your mental health.
It's true.
Regardless of what.
And that was my problem. I did the opposite. I stressed myself out so much because I, again, was advised, you have to breastfeed.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I could not produce any milk.
Mm-hmm.
I breastfed maybe the day she was born. I was in the hospital for almost a week because I had high blood pressure.
Speaking of breastfeeding, like my milk's coming in. Yeah, when I keep touching my chest, I'm like, oh my gosh, didn't feed missed her lunch feeding, and now it's like my chest feels huge. But as you were,
yeah. So we were in the hospital for almost a week, and I remember I was like, I have to breastfeed. I do not want to give her formula.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I wanted to do. This is my plan.
Yeah,
and I don't forget what it was, but my nipples are too small. So she couldn't latch on well.
Oh.
So I had to get nipple guards.
Oh.
And it helped.
I got those at one point when I was in a lot of pain.
It definitely helped because, she was getting a bit of milk. And eventually I was like, this is weird. I don't know if she's getting enough food.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we'll just keep trying.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, I want to keep trying. But they're like,
chugging.
Also don't try too much because your blood pressure is dangerously high.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, let me breathe. Let me eat something. Let me relax and then try again. And then it got to the point where I was trying so much that both of my nipples were bleeding. And the nurse was like, I'm really sorry. This is like day 5. And they're like, I'm sorry. I know you really didn't want to give her a formula, but you can't nurse her with bleeding, torn up nipples. You can't do it. You have to face reality that it's not going to happen and you might not just have enough milk.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can still do it. They're like, well, you can later. When it heals, we're going to give her formula.
Until then, yeah.
Go to sleep. We'll feed her. I remember the nurse took the baby from me and fed her while I went to sleep for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
They were really nice at the hospital. The nurses, they loved Winter, so they took her for a walk.
Yeah.
Fed her. I slept. I went home and I was like, okay, maybe I got this. I tried everything. Breastfeeding clinic, teas, cookies, oils, everything you can think of to try to get breast milk.
Oh, wow.
And I think that also attributed to the anxiety
Absolutely.
that I had.
Oh, my God.
I was pumping all day. I was like, I heard it's better to pump at night. I'd wake up at like 3 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Till like 3 to 6, I'd be pumping. And I'd get like 2 ounces.
Oh, my God, no.
And eventually I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm so tired.
Damn.
And Winter is upset. And I'm like, she's probably so hungry.
Starving.
Right.
Yeah.
So I started giving her a bottle and I felt so guilty.
Oh, my gosh.
I felt so awful as a human being.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes people don't have the luxury of this. And I can't beat myself up. Like, what can I do? What can I do? There's nothing I can do. And what matters right now is if my baby is fed.
Amen.
And healthy.
That's what makes you a good mom.
And I had to tell myself that like my baby needs to be fed. And wherever I get this food from is where she will get it.
That's it.
And honestly, me starting to give her formula made such a huge difference. Because I could rest.
Yeah. And you could like
give John a bottle.
Exactly. Jealous.
And just walk away.
Yep.
And that definitely was like a turning point for me and my anxiety. Because I can have like a second to myself to breathe. Another moment, the moment that made me actually turn everything around. I don't know what it was, but there was a day, I'll never forget this day. It was on Valentine's Day. I was dead tired. And usually I wake up in the morning. I try to nurse her. And then I go and get her a bottle. And I remember walking down my stairs, and I don't know what happened, but I just fell down the stairs. Stairs with the baby in my hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I remember I had her like this, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to fall. And I remember scooping her into my boobs. She was still really small.
Yeah.
I scooped her and tucked her into my boobs and just like stiffened my body and fell backwards.
Wow.
And just took the whole fall. She was unbothered. She just like looked at me And like John was downstairs because he was working.
Oh, but he must have ran. Like
and he ran and he just like took her from me. He's like, give her to me.
You crazy woman, get out of here.
And he's like, is she okay? And she's just like looking at him
Yeah.
like unbothered because she's just bouncing up and down in my
Yeah.
boobs. And I'm like,
Cushioned.
I'm like, she's okay? And he's like, she's fine. And I'm like, okay. I think I'm back to myself. Like, it almost like knocked the sense.
That's hilarious.
Knocked the sense back into me, man, because I was like, yo, after this day forward, this baby will never get hurt again.
Yeah,
in
that's
her
it.
life. I will do whatever it takes, even if I destroy my bones.
Exactly.
These old bones.
These old raggedy bones. They were built for this. No, that's awesome. I love that. And I think that's what happened. I think you were just like the sense and like, you know, I wouldn't even say the sense because I don't want to say that there was an absence of common sense or sense. I just felt like
There was, sis.
yeah, I know. I feel like because you know what, you were operating with out of love, and I think that is a beautiful thing. But I just felt like what happened in that moment is it was no longer a competing forces, love and sense. I think they're operating now simultaneously.
Yeah.
We love her, but we're gonna do what's best for her because we love her, and it's kind of like that reoccurring cycle, which I think is awesome. I think it's interesting that you mentioned that you did so much research because I feel like, to be honest with you, I think the two things that I threw out the window or avoided doing to preserve my sanity and my mental health was avoiding research and no expectations.
Yeah.
Everyone to the bitter end, everyone's like, do you have a birth plan? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, because what's the point?
I
In the
wish.
moment, like if I have a birth, I knew that if I had this birth plan and things didn't go as planned, my anxiety would go through the freaking roof.
Yeah.
So I had absolutely no birth plan. I remember my friend kept asking me, why don't you? I don't want to make one. I don't. I just want to go in. Everyone's like, are you going to have an epidural? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I will make that decision once I get there. And I'm glad because back labor was ridiculous. And I had not
Imagine if you prepared.
Thank you. Wasn't even on my radar. Same thing for breastfeeding. I bought formula. I had all those what's it called? I subscribed to like all those different like parent things. I got lots of free samples, and then someone had purchased some for me. I didn't have to buy. That's a good thing. But I did get some for my shower, and I had it. I stocked it in the bag. So I'm like, I don't know which way this is gonna go, and I'm okay with whatever way it goes because this thing was developed for a reason. It can't cause harm to children if it's developed for babies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that just eliminating like my expectations and not just overdoing it with research was instrumental in terms of me preserving my mental health. Because I know I would have just gone over the deep end.
Yeah, I definitely have learned my lesson.
Right?
That was like a rookie mistake.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
should have known to not prepare for this.
Yeah.
But honestly, by doing that and then fumbling the ball so hard, it definitely taught me that this is life. I can't plan life itself.
Exactly.
I just have to roll with the punches because you can't control people.
Yeah.
I'm my own self and I'm unpredictable. So why
Yeah.
can't I expect life to be unpredictable?
For sure.
So definitely I have loosened the reins on my life.
Yeah.
I only am extra sometimes.
I'm still pretty damn extra. That ain't never gonna change. And if you've met Yarby, you know that she's equally as extra. So I think the other thing that I want to note though is that I think as first-time moms, we referenced the fact that like we were, really anxious about potentially developing postpartum and wanted to make sure that we did what we could. One thing that I did do is I visited a nutritionist who told me that one of the number one reasons why women suffer from postpartum is because of a lack of nutrition. He's like, you're not eating. Like, they're just not eating. They're going. They're trying to feed. And they're not eating.
Yeah.
He's like, so just make sure that you're getting enough food.
Yeah.
He's like, that's going to have a huge, and for me, who's like just hungry all the goddamn time, that was important for me to consider. So I remember buying like, it was like a protein powder type thing that had, I think it's called, I don't remember, the one that has like 7 of the essential, like superfoods and all this kind of stuff. Anyways, got it from Healthy Planet. He's like, if you can't afford to sit down and spoon food into your mouth, drink. He's like, you have to make this shake at least a couple times a day and that'll keep you going. So that was huge for me in terms of like just making sure that I had my head on straight. And also now understanding that postpartum isn't something that's specific to new moms, right? So hearing about like moms who have had 3 kids and on their 4th kid, boom, like all of a sudden, like, And, you know, because I feel like that's harder to talk about because they're like, well, what's wrong with you? You've done this before.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You know these reins, but it's, again, I think it's the idea that like you can't really control it, so to speak.
And that's why I was saying people usually think that it's about the children why you get depressed.
Yeah.
But it's not about the kids.
Not exclusively.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
But it's almost a reaction. It's reactional because Winter could be just having a normal day, and because I'm overwhelmed,
Yeah.
she overwhelms me.
Yes, very true.
So I'm like, it's about me. I need to focus on me. And that's why we also mentioned in our past episode that self-care is so important. Because if you can't help yourself, you can't help anybody else.
Amen.
So you got to take care of yourself,
Yeah.
sister, and get the support that you need. And that was another thing that kind of threw me for a loop.
What?
Is when I was doing my research is the mom community. I'm ashamed.
What?
They're the ones that scared me the most.
Yeah.
You guys should be more supportive.
Yeah. Some of them are like, and I think it's weird because I sometimes I feel like it's like the intent versus the impact, right?
Yeah.
So there might be good intentions, even in like the delivery, like though it may not necessarily suit your liking, the intent may be pure, but the impact is horrific.
Yeah, like mommy mafia.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's like that's when you mentioned the idea about like I have to breastfeed.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that sounds like that came from somewhere. Like where did that overarching feeling and like pressure to make sure that you produce milk so that you feed
It's like hearing other moms and people in your life, and then the mom mafia, like breastfeeding is best.
Breast is best.
Breast is best. Don't give them that poison.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh my God, poison?
Yeah. I can't give my child poison.
Yeah, so then it kind of created that subconscious like worry inside of me saying like, okay, you know what? I can produce milk. It's natural. Why won't I give it to my baby?
Yeah.
Now I have to do it. Not knowing that, you know, my body just can't do it.
Yeah.
It ain't with it.
Exactly.
What can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do?
It's kind of a similar thing to women who aren't able to produce naturally, like who aren't able to reproduce, right? It's like for as long as life, you're like, I'm a woman, so whenever I'm ready to have a child, I will. And when you can't, you somehow feel defective.
Yeah.
And then I think that's like heightened when you are successful in giving birth because you're like, oh, so I can have babies. So then it's like, okay, well, I can do that. So I must be able to do this.
Yeah.
And when you can't, then it's just like, yeah, that you're consumed by the sadness of not being able. Yeah.
To be a good mom. Because
Exactly.
I can't do this for my baby.
Yeah. We're going to give you guys a couple tips. If there are moms who are listening who are new moms, or we have listeners who are, you know, hoping to have children one day, just to be, we're going to give you some tips and some suggestions to help avoid postpartum. So again, one of the things that I think is imperative and something that I stand true to because I'm a foodie is eat. Make sure you're eating. You need to eat. You need the nourishment. Like you have to think, especially if you're breastfeeding, my God, it takes so much out of you.
It's true.
Like take it from me who now is like 10 months strong with Yara. Like even now, if I breastfeed Yara like with like 2 consecutive sessions without eating, my head is throbbing. I'm like so disoriented. It just takes a lot out of you. You have to make sure that you're providing yourself with the nourishment that you need to get the job done. So please make sure you are eating and eating well.
Yes. This is an interesting one. Avoiding making major life changes during or right after birth.
Meanwhile,
Well,
we both bought homes.
and it didn't go so smoothly.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, I think I made every rookie mistake possible during this.
Ditto.
That definitely contributed to our issue. I'm going to tell you a little something. I don't know if John wants me to share this.
Uh-oh.
But when we just moved into our house, our whole neighborhood is a new development. And you know how it goes when you buy a brand spanking new home. There's some kinks.
Oh boy.
So we're actual structural kinks in our home, so that annoyed me.
Oh boy.
And 2, in Durham here, where it used to be all fields, when you tear things down, there are mice.
Oh my God.
So,
Coming up the steps?
no, it wasn't up the steps. They were in the walls.
Ah.
So they didn't do quite a good job. And I remember it happened just before I had the baby. I lost my...
So you just hear them like scurrying all over the place?
They came one night. We were watching Game of Thrones.
Don't even scare me. Like, I cannot with mice.
It's like I can't breathe. So this was one of the things that contributed to my anxiety.
100%.
Like thinking about it alone is making me shake. We were watching TV and I look over and swore I saw something scurrying.
No, Lord.
And I'm like, this baby has me losing my goddamn mind.
Must.
I was like, John, I'm probably crazy, but I swore I saw a mouse. And then he was like, yeah, you're crazy. This is a new house.
Right?
Then I saw it again and I said, no. I started crying. Real tears.
Yeah,
I cried
no,
real
that would be
tears.
me.
So I email like the builder and I'm like, listen, quick. You better be here first sunrise.
Yeah.
Come to my house, please, because there are rodents in my home. And I send John out. It was like midnight. I send John out. I don't know where you're going to find these mouse traps, but you better go leave the house right now and find a mouse trap because I'm not leaving this couch.
Because I'm standing on top of the counter.
Yeah.
And I'm not coming down until
You
the
better
mouse
come
is
back
found.
because I got to pee often, okay?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
So, honestly, long story short, it was really heartbreaking to me, but like 7 mice later.
7?
7.
7 too many. No, that's
We caught 7. It was about a span of maybe 3, almost a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They came and they're like, impossible. First I went to the builder because you see how they have those trailers. So I waddled over there. And
Oh my God.
Listen, I got mice in my house. You guys ain't coming quick enough.
Not my
And
brand new
I'm like,
house.
if I
Oh my
have
gosh.
this baby and there's a mouse in this house, it's going to be a problem because I'm going to roll up here again with my lawyers.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, is your house clean? I'm like, bitch, this house is new. What do you mean
You're
clean?
crazy. No, that's disrespectful. Listen.
I was so upset. Oh, the piece of person that I did.
Wow.
Sorry, mommy. But honestly, they were like, there's no way. Like, the way we build it, they're not, like, your houses aren't connected. So I don't know how they would get in here. So it must be a mess. I'm like, there's no mess. I don't even eat here. I'm going to work. I come home and I sleep.
Are you freaking kidding me right now?
So I was like,
get the hell out of here. Nah.
Now. They ended up.
I'm knocking somebody out.
My
Someone's losing teeth.
father-in-law and my brother, because my brother's a plumber, he came in and he checked like the piping. He's like, yeah, they didn't do this good. So he like sealed things up in the bathroom over there. And then my father-in-law sealed things up under the sink.
Nice.
And then they were gone. But the fact that it took a month, I destroyed those people.
Yeah.
In every way.
I don't know how they compensated you, but
They are destroyed.
I would have been done. I would have gotten a cat, first of all. So that's it. I
I
would have told
hate
John,
cat,
I'm like,
like-
go out and get a cat.
Me and cats,
Me neither, but you know what? Like
we can't. Like,
7 is no.
honestly,
7?
I didn't sleep. And that contributed to
The lack of sleep. Scratchy,
I
scratchy,
didn't
scratchy.
sleep,
No,
I
thank
couldn't
you.
breathe.
No.
I couldn't eat. I was in a constant state.
No.
And that's why I was so worried. Like, I started off before this baby in a constant state of panic.
Jesus.
And then had a baby in a constant state of panic. And then the fact that I had high blood pressure and they're like, oh, you can have a stroke at any moment. Constant state of panic.
That's good to know.
Not being able to breastfeed. It wasn't a great time for me, but that was the past. I moved forward and, I'm feeling good.
But listen, those are some of the tips, right? I think that we gave, I don't know what we gave, 2, 3?
I think we gave 2.
Eat well, sleep well, and
Avoid stressful situations.
Absolutely.
Do research.
if you want to.
Not
Only if
intensely,
you want
but
to.
look up signs to look for. 'Cause
Yes.
It's better to be aware so that you can ask for help.
For sure. And that's it.
That's
The last one.
Don't
the
go too
main
deep.
one.
Don't
Yeah.
make the same mistakes I did. And go too deep. Like, for someone that already lives with anxiety, I did
Yeah.
everything to destroy myself.
I don't know. I think that's it, friends.
I think so. I feel like this was like kind of...
It was a long one, but it needs to be lengthy because I feel like there's a lot to talk about and we need to do it justice. So
I hope this was helpful. Honestly, I feel like we could have even a part 2 of this.
Oh, for sure. And part
Maybe
2?
with a guest
Yeah.
that can give us some actual facts and stats.
I'd love that.
And
maybe to share their own experience too, which I also really like.
Yes. I wish that you guys can share your experiences with us. Can you talk to us, please?
I know. We're a little
Instagram?
lonely. Chat with us. I was just telling Shan that like I have fantastic friends and fans. Listen to me, fans. I got my friends. Yeah, right. I have fantastic friends and family who like give me feedback on like the topics and give me suggestions. But I would love for that feedback and those suggestions to be shared. So I think the best space to provide that information is on the Instagram and on our podcast platforms. So please share with us on Instagram.
Yeah, kind of
what your thoughts are.
Leave comments and then everyone can join in on the dialogue.
Yeah.
Because you never know, your comments can be featured on our next episode. We're trying to get you guys involved. We want to talk to you guys. So hello.
Chat to us.
Please.
Please, and don't forget to nominate Bomb Moms. Because we all know so many incredible moms. So
every
each
day
week,
of your lives.
Right? We want to be able to share one each. This week, we just decided to go and collab on Megan Markle because, you know what? She just needs that much love.
Sister Duchess.
But I know, right? But going forward, there'll definitely be one from her, one from me, and preferably, hopefully, one from one of you as well. So please share.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
One from the audience.
Okay, serious talking to us. But I think
that was it.
Nap time is over.
I hope this was helpful to you guys. It was nice chatting. I hope you guys could take something away from this. And we will talk to you guys next week.
We will. Bye, friends.
See ya.
Want the epic stuff, the extraordinary stuff, the edge of your seat stuff? You know, the good stuff. With AMC Plus, you can watch the best of AMC, BBC America, IFC, Sundance Now, Shudder, and more. Hungry for horror? Feast on Shudder's chilling originals like Creepshow Season 2 and killer premieres like Train to Busan Presents Peninsula. Got a need for speed? The boys are back with an epic tour of the UK as Top Gear races through a new season. All available on AMC Plus, ad-free and on demand. Start your free trial today at amcplus.com. AMC Plus, only the good stuff.